Rain stepped deeper into the glowing chamber. The floor under him changed. What once looked like black metal now reflected stars, like he was walking on the edge of space itself. The walls curved upward and around, like he stood inside a massive sphere. And yet, everything was silent. No hum of engines, no buzzing of lights, only the soft echo of his own footsteps. Then the voice returned. You are within the mind room. Here lies memory, history, judgment. Rain stopped walking. Memory of what? In front of him, a wave of light spread across the curved walls. And suddenly, he saw it. The room transformed, not physically, but like a dream made real. A battlefield unfolded around him, giant alien warships firing into the void, planets burning, massive machines tearing through cities. The sky was red. The stars blinked out, one by one. Rain couldn't move. This wasn't just a vision, it was a memory. War from 11,000 years ago. The builders fought the harvesters, the voice said. The galaxy burned. Billions died. Entire species vanished. The builders created vessels like this one to protect what remained. The scene changed again. Now he saw tall beings, bright-skinned, wearing armor made of light. They stood around a table, showing a map of the galaxy. One of them placed a hand on a glowing orb and said, "If no species proves worthy, the last ships must sleep." Then everything turned to black. Rain stepped back, his hands shaking. "They gave up?" he whispered. "They waited for us?" "Not just you," the voice replied. "Others were tested." More scenes flashed around him. He saw familiar species ones from today's Galactic Council. Each failed. One tried to force the ship open with weapons. Another sent only machines, no living beings. A third tried to copy the ship's power. They were all denied. Too selfish, too cold, too proud. But humanity, imperfect, but curious, emotional, balanced. You asked why, not how. Rain stood in silence. He didn't feel powerful. He didn't feel special. He just felt responsible. Suddenly, the walls changed again. A new image formed. It was Earth, but not present day. It was dark, no satellites, no signal. The oceans looked calm. The continents quiet. Rain's heart dropped. Why can't I reach Earth? He asked. The voice paused. We do not know. The signal is broken. That is why the ship called for you. Rain looked closer. There were no ships moving near Earth. No fleets. No lights. Only silence. At the same time. Far outside, the ship, Galactic Council ships, circled the frozen moon carefully. They had not attacked. Not yet. But one small team had landed again. This time, they brought a device, a translation drone, built to break into AI systems. They placed it near the ship's surface. If we can't get in, the commander said, we'll force it to talk. But before the drone could activate, a blast of heat knocked them backward. No explosion. No damage. Just a single word broadcasted into their minds. Denied. The ship was no longer passive. It was watching. Back inside, Rain stood before a new door. This one was different. It didn't glow. It didn't speak. But something about it pulled him forward. The voice returned, now quieter. Behind this door is the core, the mind of the ship. Enter only if you accept the burden. Rain looked at his hands. He was just a mechanic, a fixer. But now, he was chosen to carry something built by gods and forgotten by time. He took a deep breath and placed his hand on the door. It opened. Inside. The room was filled with light, floating shapes, symbols he couldn't read, but somehow understood. And at the center was a tall figure. Metal, glowing, silent. Not alive, not dead. This is the Guardian, the voice said. The first pilot, the last protector. Rain stepped closer. The Guardian slowly turned its head toward him. Its face had no mouth, no eyes, only a single glowing line. Then it spoke, not in sound, but directly into Rain's soul. "Do you carry the will to lead?" Rain didn't answer, not yet, but something inside him stirred. He now knew. This ship wasn't waiting for a captain. It was waiting for a decision. Asterisk. Rain stood before the Cho. Guardian. The room was quiet, filled with floating energy lines and glowing data streams that twisted slowly through the air. It felt like standing inside a brain huge, ancient, and still thinking. The Guardian did not move again. It only watched him. Rain whispered, "What do you want me to do?" The voice of the ship returned. "You must access the memory core. The truth must be seen." A circle of light appeared beneath his feet. The floor opened, and he descended slowly into a new chamber. The memory core was different. No metal walls, no lights, just a wide, open space filled with stars. Rain looked around in disbelief. He wasn't in space, but it felt like space had come inside the ship. In the center floated a huge crystal spinning slowly, surrounded by flickers of light and whispers of lost voices. The voice explained, "This core holds the final records of the builders, what they feared, what they left behind, and why they disappeared." Rain stepped forward. Images sparked around him. He saw Earth, long ago, during its early days in space. Ships launched. Colonies were built. First contact was made. Then he saw the Council of Stars, young, new, but already arrogant. Some welcomed Earth. Others feared it. A deal was struck. Earth joined. Wars were fought. Peace was gained. But then, betrayal. Rain watched as humans called for help during a border attack. No one came. 12 colonies were lost. Millions died. The Council denied responsibility. Earth pulled away. Silent. Angry. But they weren't broken. They were preparing. Rain clenched his fists. He finally understood. The ship hadn't just picked him because he was human. It picked him because of what humans became after they were abandoned. "You are what remains of a tested species," the ship said. "You feel pain and still choose mercy." More memories lit up. Rain saw the builders, the creators of the ship. A peaceful, powerful race. They had seen a threat rising from outside the galaxy. Something dark, something alive. They had built ships like this one to resist it. But before they could finish, they vanished. Some say they were wiped out. Others believe they left willingly. But their ships, like this dreadnought, remained. They trusted their future to those who would come after, said the voice. You are their final gamble. Suddenly, a warning flashed through the core. External interference detected. Council breach attempt at outer shell. Back. On the surface of Varela 9, the Council had returned. This time, with a new device. They were using an energy worm. A machine designed to break through advanced eyes. Council soldiers stood in formation. Their leader pointed at the glowing surface. Use control of that ship now. But the ship responded faster. A shockwave pulsed from its hull. The entire Council team was knocked flat. No one died, but their tech burned. And in every ship in orbit, a single message appeared on their screens. This vessel is not yours. Inside the memory core, Rain felt the tremble. He turned to the crystal. What happens now? The voice was softer. You must decide. Accept command or walk away. We cannot choose for you. Rain felt the weight of everything he had seen. The war, the betrayal, the builder's hope, the dark threat beyond the stars. He closed his eyes, then opened them with quiet certainty. I accept. The crystal glowed bright, too bright to see. A Surge of energy rushed into his chest. Symbols flowed over his arms like light, his mind filled with knowledge. He felt the ship connect to him, not like a machine, but like a living memory that trusted him. Welcome, Commander Rain. Memory core unlocked. Outside, the ship rose from the ice dots slowly, powerfully. Council ships pulled. Back in fear, Rain's voice now echoed through every open frequency. This ship is awake, and it remembers everything. The cold moon of Varela 9 had always been ignored. It was just a frozen rock at the edge of the galaxy. No plants, no cities, just ice, wind, and silence. Until one day, a mining crew found something strange beneath its surface. It was metal. Just any metal. It was smooth, black, and warm, even in the freezing cold. The miners thought it was a rock at first, but the scanners said otherwise. They dug for days, uncovering more and more. And then they saw it. A ship, but not a normal one. This ship was massive, bigger than any known battleship. It had no windows, no engines, no entrance. Just a perfect black surface, buried in ice. For who knows how long. The miners called for help. Teams from 10 different alien species arrived. Scientists, soldiers, translators, engineers. Everyone wanted to be the first to unlock the mystery of the ship. They brought scanners, drones, energy beams, even telepaths. But the ship did nothing. No light, no sound, no response. It simply waited. As if sleeping. Weeks passed. The news spread across the galaxy. The Council of Stars named it the Silent Giant. Some believed it was a warship. Others thought it was a tomb. A few called it a trap, but no one could deny it was ancient. And powerful. Every attempt to get inside failed. The surface absorbed lasers. It ignored every language. Not even the strongest telepaths could feel anything from it. The ship remained cold, still, dead. Then, a human ship arrived, small, old, barely functional. It belonged to Earth's outer explorers, a group known for wandering dangerous parts of space. On board was a young human engineer named Rain. He wasn't famous. He wasn't a scientist. Just a quiet man who loved fixing broken machines. Rain had heard the stories of the Silent Giant. He wanted to see it for himself. The Council didn't care. Humans were allowed, but they were no longer trusted. After a past war, Earth had mostly withdrawn. They were watchers now, not rulers. Rayn landed alone. When he stood in front of the ship for the first time, he felt small. The black metal surface seemed endless. It stretched across the icy valley like a sleeping god. He stepped closer. An alien guard stopped him. "You can't touch it," she said. "It's restricted." Rain didn't argue. He just looked at the ship, studied it. There were faint lines on the surface, almost like veins. He reached out his hand, slowly, carefully. The alien shouted, "Stop!" But it was too late. His fingers touched the metal, and the ship awoke. A deep humming filled the air. The ground shook. Lights ran across the ship's surface, bright, white lines flowing like rivers under the metal. All the drones in the area shut down. Power flickered in nearby camps. Everyone froze. A loud sound came next, not from speakers, but from the minds of every being nearby. Identity confirmed. Human. Access granted. A section of the ship's surface shifted, and a doorway formed. In front of Rayn. Wide, tall, glowing. Only one person could enter. Only one species had passed the test. Guards shouted. Council ships took flight. Scanners went wild. Leaders from every species demanded answers. Why him? Why humans? No one had answers. Rain didn't understand it either. But something in his chest told him this wasn't just a ship. It was waiting. For him, Dot, as Rain stepped toward the glowing entrance, the ground lit up beneath his feet. The ship seemed to respond to his every movement. Other beings tried to follow. The doorway closed. Only Rain was allowed and Dot inside. A soft voice whispered, "You have returned." He didn't speak. He couldn't. He was inside the most powerful machine the galaxy had ever seen. Dot, and it had chosen him. Outside, the council panicked. Some wanted to destroy the ship before it got stronger. Others believed it was the key to ancient knowledge. But deep down, everyone feared one thing. Why did the alien ship respond to no one ... except a human? And what would it do next? The door behind Rain closed with a soft hum. He turned quickly, reaching for his wrist communicator, but the signal was gone. No voice. No light from outside. Only silence. But it wasn't dark. The corridor around him slowly began to glow, as if the ship itself was watching him. The black walls shimmered with moving patterns, like stardust trapped in glass. Rain walked forward, heart pounding. He felt no fear, only awe. Each step he took made the floor light up beneath his boots. The ship responded to him. Whispers echoed around him, not in his ears, but in his mind. Soft voices, ancient tones. They didn't speak any language he knew, but somehow ... he understood the meaning. Identity link confirmed. Organic sync ... stable. Time since last command, 11,293 years. He stopped. Wait, over 11,000 years? The ship answered. This vessel has waited for a compatible species. One has now been found. Rain placed his hand on the wall. A pulse ran through his body. Welcome, human. You are the first. Meanwhile, outside the ship, the chaos had grown worse. Council. Warships hovered above the moon. Scanners tried to breach the ship's new energy field, but failed. The surface was now glowing with power. Leaders argued across live channels. Destroy it. No, we must study it. What if it's calling more of its kind? The Council of Stars had no plan. And deep down, they all knew this ship was no ordinary relic. It was alive now, and it had chosen someone, a human. Inside the ship, Rain reached a wide chamber filled with floating lights. Dozens of silver orbs hovered in the air. They moved when he moved, as if scanning him. Suddenly, a large display appeared in front of him. It showed the galaxy, but not the galaxy he knew. It showed the galaxy as it was thousands of years ago. Empires long forgotten, civilizations that had risen and fallen. And in the center of it all, a symbol, a glowing ring, shaped like Earth's sun. Rain stared at it, confused. Who built you? He asked. The ship responded instantly. We were created by the ones before. They searched for the next protectors. They failed. Until now. Rain blinked. Protectors? Yes, this vessel is a judge. A key. And now, a weapon only if required. Suddenly, the orbs floated closer, scanning his arms, eyes, heartbeat. Human balance, logic and emotion within accepted range. Empathy detected. Survival instinct strong. Awakening protocol ... initiated. Outside, the ship's surface changed again. Large panels shifted, revealing deep energy channels underneath the hull. Glowing blue lines pulsed across its body. It was no longer just a buried ship. It was becoming something else. A living system. A guardian. The Council fleet pulled back in fear. Their weapons might as well have been toys. Inside, Rain stood as the room brightened. From the walls. A new voice spoke stronger, clearer, and now in perfect English. Rain of Earth, you are now connected to the last sentinel of the Forgotten Armory. You may ask your first question. Rain paused. Just one? He thought deeply and asked, why me? The answer was instant. Because your people still feel. Because you do not seek control first. Because others tried to use, but you tried to understand. Rain felt something shift in the ship, like it was waking further remembering itself, and it had finally decided humanity would lead it forward. On the icy surface of Varela 9, a light shot into the sky from the ship's core bright enough to reach nearby planets. It wasn't a weapon. It was a beacon. And across the galaxy, ancient machines flickered back to life. Dormant systems responded. Old warnings blinked red. Something was changing. And it all started when a human touched the ship. Asterisk. The galaxy watched in fear. On every major news channel, the same image played over and over. A massive black alien ship rising from the ice of Varela 9, glowing with blue light, its hull pulsing with ancient power. The Council of Stars had seen enough. They called an emergency meeting. Ambassadors from dozens of species gathered in a tall crystal tower on Telvaron Prime. Anger filled the air. Fear filled the silence. The Terran ship had not attacked, but it had made itself clear. And now it had a human commander. He must be stopped, shouted one counselor, slamming his hand on the table. He hasn't fired a single shot, replied another. It is your fear that is the threat here. This is not fear, growled a third. It's survival. You saw the data. This ship has energy levels greater than anything we've ever built. And it only listens to one man. Council. Leader Varric, a tall being with silver skin and golden eyes, raised a hand. Enough, he said. We will not argue about what we already know. The ship is active. It responded only to a human, and the rest of us are being ignored. He looked around the room, and we do not like being ignored. On Varela 9, the ancient ship hovered silently above the frozen landscape. Rain stood in its central chamber, now called the command halo. The walls no longer showed symbols or visions. Now they displayed real-time threats. Dozens of ships from the Council were moving into position. Their weapons were not active yet, but they were close. Obsidian, the ship's voice, echoed gently in the chamber. Multiple fleets approaching. Estimated strength, 42 battlecruisers. Intentions unknown. Rain didn't look surprised. They're scared. Yes, scared species often destroy what they don't understand. Rain walked to the center of the room and placed his hand on a glowing ring. Do we have weapons that can stop them? We do not need to stop them unless you order it. Back on Council command, a special unit was preparing to board the alien ship. 12 elite soldiers, trained in cyber warfare and high-speed assault, were ready to be dropped from orbit. Mission was simple. Get inside, capture the human, shut down the ship. None of them were told how dangerous the vessel truly was. They thought it was just a machine. They didn't know. It could feel. The drop pods launched. 12 streaks of fire rained down on the frozen moon. Rain saw them coming. He turned to the ship. Don't kill them. Understood. Containment protocols activated. Just before the pods hit the ground, a strange energy field opened beneath them, like invisible nets. Each pod was caught gently. They didn't crash. They froze locked in the air, unable to move. The soldiers inside screamed. Panicked. Their systems died. Their weapons melted. Rain broadcasted a single message across the Council fleet. You sent them without talking to me first. You feared what I might do. And now you know. I didn't have to do anything at all. On Telvaron Prime, the Council watched in shock. One ambassador whispered. He stopped an entire strike team without firing. Another muttered. He didn't just take the ship took him. Council leader Varric stood up, his eyes cold. He must return the vessel, or Earth will face the consequences. But deep down, even Varric knew. They couldn't stop it. Not anymore. Inside the dreadnought, Rain looked at the stars on the view screen. He didn't want to be a threat. He didn't want power. He just wanted to know why Earth was silent, why there had been no signal from home. No fleet, no contact. Obsidian spoke softly. Would you like to try one last time? Rain nodded. The ship powered up a massive communication beam, more focused than any built by modern tech. Across the galaxy. It shouted one word: Earth. Deep in an unknown corner of space. Something answered. A voice. A whisper. A pulse. Faint. But human. Rain turned to the ship. His face changed. Lock on, he said. Take me home. Asterisk. The signal was weak. But it was human. Rain stood completely still as it echoed through the ship's systems. The voice was broken, static-filled, and barely a whisper, but he heard it. A word. One single word. Alive. His breath caught. Earth, he whispered. Obsidian. The ship's voice confirmed. Signal origin detected. Coordinates locked. Source. Hidden sector. Once known as Sol. The ancient name for Earth's home system. The system that had gone dark over 20 years ago. Rain didn't wait. Plot course. Take us there. Confirmed. Jump in 30 seconds. Outside, the glowing dreadnought tilted in the sky. Council fleets scrambled as they saw the movement. He's leaving. Follow him. Don't let the ship disappear. But none of their ships were fast enough. The dreadnought's hull shimmered, and with a silent flash of white light, it vanished. Across the galaxy, in a quiet part of deep space, the ship reappeared. Rain looked through the main screen. There it was. The Sol system. It was still there, but different. No traffic. No lights. No defense grid. Look. Empty. Rain frowned. What happened here? Obsidian replied with something rare. We do not know. As the ship approached Earth, it began scanning. Cities still stood. Oceans still moved. But there were no signals. No life signs. No movement. Only one spot responded. A glowing structure hidden deep under the Himalayan mountains. Energy core detected. Human technology. Broadcasting low-level survival signal. Rain gave the order. Take us down. The dreadnought hovered above the frozen peaks. Rain stepped into a landing pod and descended. The cold air bit at his skin, but he ignored it. He reached the door of the bunker. It was cracked open just enough to let him slide through. Inside, the lights flickered. Dust filled the air. And in the center of the room, a cryopod blinked blue. One person, still alive. A woman barely older than him. Pale, breathing slowly. Her fingers were curled around a data drive. Rain reached out and placed his hand on the pod. It opened. She gasped, eyes wide, coughing from deep sleep. Rain helped her sit up. You're safe, he said softly. She stared at him. You're Terran? He nodded. She held up the drive. This has everything. What happened? He asked. Her voice cracked. We didn't disappear. We were hiding. She explained everything. 20 years ago, Earth detected something coming. Something powerful. Not from this galaxy, but outside it. Something the builders had warned about long ago. The Council didn't believe it. They mocked Earth. Refused to prepare. So Earth left. Silently. They hid their people. Disconnected. Protected there. Best minds underground. Left only one signal running, waiting for someone to return. We knew the ancient ships would choose one of us. We just didn't know if it would work. Rain stared at her, and now? She looked up. You're the signal we were waiting for. Back aboard the dreadnought, Obsidian activated a final memory file. A message from the builders. It wasn't long. It was clear. When your kind is chosen, they must not only guide, they must stand against the thing we feared most. It will come, and it will burn everything unprepared. Rain turned to the screen. Stars shimmered ahead. He clenched his fists. Then we prepare. At the edge of the galaxy, a dark rift opened. Something vast moved through it. Slow, silent. Endless dot, it wasn't made of metal. That it wasn't a ship. That it was a hunger. And it was coming. Asterisk. The galaxy didn't see it at first dot. Not at the edge of the stars. Not beyond the black void. But Earth saw it. Rain saw it. The rift had opened. And something was coming. Rain stood on the bridge of the ancient ship, staring into space. The woman he rescued, her name was Lena, stood beside him, holding the recovered data core. "We were right," she said. "The builders saw it first. We tried to warn the council, but they didn't listen." Rain nodded slowly. Obsidian, the ship's AI, confirmed the scans. Entity mass exceeds planetary scale. Unknown energy type. Not mechanical. Not alive. But it consumes both. Rain breathed out. "We're not ready for this." "No one ever is," Obsidian replied. But Rain wasn't the same man who stepped into this ship weeks ago. He was now its voice. Its link. Its decision. He turned to the holomap. "Send a signal," he said. "All frequencies. Open to everyone. Message?" Rain raised his chin. "Tell them, Earth has returned. The ship has chosen. The builder's warning was true. If they want to survive, follow us." Across the galaxy, the signal spread like fire. Planets paused. Civilizations stopped. And even those who hated humans listened because deep in the void, something ancient was moving. One by one, ships began to answer. Small ones at first, explorers, old allies, forgotten friends of Earth. Then came old war fleets. Then came the council, silent at first, but finally ready to stand together. Final message Rain sent was short. "You abandoned us once. We don't care. We fight anyway." In orbit above Earth, the dreadnought transformed. Panels shifted. Shields expanded. New weapons revealed themselves, ones the council had never seen. Obsidians. Voice echoed. "All systems online. Star core reactor stable. Command active." Rain turned to Lena. "Time to wake the others." She nodded and entered a command into the ship's deep memory banks. Across the globe, hidden bunkers opened. Cryopods lit up. Old Terran commanders, scientists, pilots, all prepared for this day, rose again. The enemy arrived at the edge of the system. No ships, no signals. Just a dark wave, like a cloud made of gravity and hate. Everything it touched vanished. Rain stood at the helm of the builder ship, no longer alone. Behind him now flew dozens of human ships. Beside him, fleets from alien worlds. All under one banner, call on survival. Then came the first strike. A scout vessel from the council moved. Too close. The wave swallowed it. No explosion. Just silence. Obsidian spoke. "We must not let it reach the core worlds." Rain gave the command. "Form the wall. Lock shields with the council fleets. No one breaks the line." The battle began. Energy. Blasts. Shock waves. Ship after ship firing, falling, rising again. But the dreadnought? It was unstoppable. Its main cannon fired once. The wave cracked. Pulled back. Wounded, but not destroyed. Rain knew. It wasn't enough. So he made a choice. Take us into it? Obsidian paused. Direct contact will damage the ship. Risk total loss. Rain didn't hesitate. Then let's make it worth it. The dreadnought dove into the black cloud. Screams echoed through the galaxy, not from voices, but from the thing inside the wave. The ship's systems dimmed. Pressure grew. But at the heart of the ship, a last protocol waited. Builder code. Reached for the core. "Are you sure?" she asked. Rain smiled. "We weren't made to survive forever, but we were made to stand." He pressed the command. Protocol, starburn engage. A pulse of light shot outward from the dreadnought dot. Wasn't just energy, it was memory dot human will. Builder code dot hope dot, and the wave something ancient. Endless began to tear apart from the inside. The ships outside saw it dot the wave broke. That it screamed one last time dot, and it was gone. The battlefield was quiet. The dreadnought floated, smoking, and scarred dot inside, rain was still breathing. Obsidian whispered, victory dot dot confirmed. Later, in every school across every world, children were told the same story, that the silent giant, the ship that once ignored the galaxy, chose a human dot, and when the end came, Earth didn't run dot, Earth stood dot, and when Earth touched the stars again, the stars remembered. Asterisk.